My name is Robert Hawkins. Approximately 7 hours ago, something attacked the city. You found this. If you're watching this, then you know more about it than I do.
Into the middle of the city! We gotta get...
Listen to me, she's dying!
Turn that camera!
Robbie, hey, Robbie! I saw it! Robbie, it's a lot.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I am so sorry that I have so much trouble staying consistent. Like, I went on like a 2-month hiatus, and then I came back and I made 2 videos in one day and got them both uploaded in that same day. And I was actually kind of on a roll, and then I just kind of disappeared for another month. But I'm back, and, you know, I know it's the Christmas season, and, you know, everyone's reviewing Christmas movies, but I decided I just wanted to review some movies that I've been wanting to review for a while. And also, before we get into it, I do want to preface this by saying, if the audio sounds a little different than it has in my other videos, that's because I am using a new microphone. I'm gonna hold this up. This is the microphone I am currently using, and that is because my other microphone is not functioning properly right now. So this is the microphone that I'm using for this video. You can take that off. It's nice and pretty. This is probably really screwing up the audio, and I don't want to waste your time with it any longer, so let's just get into the video. So today I'm going to be reviewing one of the most underrated monster movies of all time. And not just one of the most underrated monster movies of all time, I actually think this is one of the most underrated movies of all time. Cloverfield. I genuinely feel like a lot of people just didn't quite catch this movie's drift back when it came out in 2008 or 2007. 2007 or 8, it came out around that time. I think I'm one of the only people who genuinely, like, loved this movie the first time I watched it. I mean, I loved it. And I know a lot of people don't, but I want to spend this video talking about why I love this movie so much. So Cloverfield is a very simple film. Essentially, it's about this group of young adults who have to survive the night when a giant mysterious creature attacks New York City. You know, it's fairly simple, but it's also a found footage film. If you don't know what found footage is, essentially a found footage film is something like the Blair Witch Project, where the entire movie is footage that was recorded, that is being recorded by the characters, like the characters recording this horrific event. That's essentially what found footage is. There's been a lot of good found footage movies, but I would say in the long run there's been more bad found footage movies than good ones. And don't even get me started on how hard it is to find a great found footage movie. I love the Blair Witch Project, and I also love Cloverfield. For me, Cloverfield and the Blair Witch Project are my 2 favorite found footage films of all time, and I'm constantly putting them together, like they're constantly butting heads for me in regards to which one is better. So let's get into Cloverfield. Okay, first off, they actually did a really good job of establishing the characters in this film. This is a problem that a lot of found footage movies have. You don't care about any of the characters because they tend to just get right into it, and that's not always a bad thing, but more often than not it is. But this film actually does do a very good job of creating good characters. I did find myself caring about these people, particularly Rob and Beth. I'm not going to spoil anything, this is a spoiler-free video, but the relationship between Rob and Beth, if you watch the film and you actually listen to the dialogue, alright, you listen to what these people are talking about, you're going to pick up on a lot of emotionally powerful things that you may not have your first time around. It was actually pretty powerful to see Rob resist against the military telling him to go to the safe zone, and seeing him run out into the city where this giant monster is just rampaging, tearing down buildings. Seeing Rob being, like, willing to run into that to save Beth is so emotionally powerful, especially considering their relationship, you know? And I don't want to give too much away. I do want you guys to be able to watch the film or rewatch it if you didn't like it the first time. I want you guys to be able to watch it and pick up on these things yourself. But all you need to know is that it is actually fairly emotionally effective. Also, and this is a major plus, a lot of found footage movies, especially American found footage movies, tend to try to make it, like, try too hard to make it realistic. You know, and by that I mean they shake the camera all the dang time. It's like all they do, and they think that by doing that they're making it more realistic, but you're not. You're just making it motion sickness inducing. If people were actually in this situation and they were recording it because they know this event is going to go down in history and they know people are going to want to see it, they're not going to make it to where you can't see anything. you know, the person recording or filming the event is going to try to get at least a competently good shot. And I like that they did that with this movie. This movie is superbly directed all the way through. And that's the other thing too. There's actually a reason why the characters are filming in this movie. You know, an annoyance with a lot of found footage films is that there's just no reason for the characters to be filming. It's like, why are you still filming? You should be running for your life. Now, yes, in Cloverfield, the characters are consistently running for their lives, but they have a reason to be filming, and they actually talk about it at one point. The main character, or at least the guy who's filming for most of the movie, HUD, actually brings it up at some point. He's like, I'm like someone's telling him, like, dude, turn off the camera. He's like, no, man, I gotta film this. You know, this is a big event. People are gonna want to know. People are gonna want to see how it went down. This is going to be like evidence or a documentation. I have to film this. And you're like, yeah, actually, if I was in that situation too, I agree. I would probably want to film it because this is going to go down in history as a major event. Also, this movie doesn't get like right into the action. It takes about 15 to 20 minutes for the actual attack on New York City to start happening, but that's actually a positive for me because, and I mean, it can be a danger, you know, for a found footage film to not have the inciting incident happen until the 20-minute mark. There could be a danger to that because most found footage films don't have compelling characters, but like I said before, this film set up some very compelling characters that I did care about. And it's also actually surprisingly funny. There's actually some really good humor throughout this movie. There's a scene where they're in this collapsing apartment building to rescue someone, and it pans over and you see like the giant monster coming toward the building, and one of the girls who has been unconscious, when she sees it, she doesn't know what's going on. She's like, what is that? And then HUD, the guy like recording it, is like, it's a terrible thing. We gotta go. And then later they're running down the hallway and there's one of those little monsters that sprout off of the big monster, and then she's like, what was that? And then he's like, it's another terrible thing. Like, it's not as funny when I'm saying it here. You just gotta watch the movie. But like, just the delivery of the lines, there actually is some pretty good comedy in the movie, but it didn't take me out of the suspense. And as for those first 15 to 20 minutes, they do a very good job of making it not boring. You know, everyone's at this party and they're all hanging out, they're all having a good time, but there was a little bit of drama going on between the characters too, but it wasn't melodramatic. It felt real, you know. It felt like, yeah, this is how people actually talk in a situation like this, you know, with relationships and things like that. It was actually very authentic, and I appreciated it. Also, can I just say that I love that the first sight of the attack that you see in the film is on the news. Like, everyone's at this party, and then there's just this giant rumble, the power flickers out for a second, and everyone at the party just shuts up, gathers by the TV, and you just see a news report, like, behind a couple of heads, and you just see, like a faint explosion of some sort, like the smallest little thing. That is so much more effective than if they just, like, panned over and you saw this big CGI thing happening outside the window. It feels much more authentic and claustrophobic and real just seeing it on the news, like just this tiny little thing and the power flickering with, you know, everyone at this party just being silent and watching it. I really loved that. And that brings me to another positive with this movie. For a movie that came out in 2008, the CG is actually fantastic. The CG for the monster in this film is like way ahead of its time. It feels like some of the best CG that we get nowadays. And they actually figure out some very clever ways to get shots in this film that you would normally only be able to get in a normal film. You know, you wouldn't normally be able to get like sweeping aerial shots in a found footage film, but they actually do come up with a clever way for that to happen in this film. It's not with, you know, a camera drone. It's when these characters, no spoilers, on a helicopter and they're flying above the city, and HUD, who is filming outside, is like filming out the window, and you're able to get like a very clear, steady aerial shot of the monster just rampaging through the city. That was amazing, and I love that they came up with all these creative ways to get those types of shots. And harkening back to how I said this film is emotionally powerful, the end of this film is incredible. I love it. It is so bittersweet. Well, I don't even want to say sweet. It's just kind of bitter. But it doesn't leave you with a bad taste in your mouth. It more so makes you realize, wow, I really did care about these characters. I really did care about Rob and Beth. And it's like I've said throughout this video, I know you're getting sick of it. it was extremely emotionally powerful. So yeah, guys, I don't know why so many people hate this movie. If you watched it and you hated it, please, you know, after watching this video, give it a rewatch and consider these points. I think you might actually find something to love in this movie, and you might actually end up loving the movie as a whole once you pick up on those little puzzle pieces. So yeah, guys, for me, Cloverfield is one of the best found footage films ever made. It is extremely thrilling, extremely emotionally powerful, and surprisingly well directed. I am going to give Cloverfield an A+. Please sit down and give it a rewatch and consider what I've said. You might pick up on those pieces, and you might end up finding something to love in the movie, if not the movie as a whole. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Look forward to my review of 10 Cloverfield Lane. That will be coming soon. I am sorry that I'm not good with consistency. I'm going to try to be more consistent. However, you probably aren't going to see another video within the next month because I'm visiting family for Christmas and, you know, other family for Christmas, and I'm going places, and you get what I'm saying. Thanks so much for watching, guys. It really does mean a lot. I'll see you in the next video, and until then, keep writing, keep shooting, and keep editing.